So in the life cycle of disaster recovery, there's basically 4 stages. You have planning and preparedness, which is getting people together, building out operation procedures, points of contact, funding, that sort of thing. You have mitigation, which I think of mitigation primarily as infrastructure, right? Like bridges, dams, those sorts of things. And then you have immediate response when the disaster strikes. And then you have long-term recovery. And so what happened with us during Helene, having not experienced a disaster of that capacity, at least not in recent history, is when Helene happened, we pretty much skipped steps 1 and 2. And we were launched right into step 3, immediate response. And so that took a lot of people coming together. It took a lot of people figuring things out on the fly. And the good thing that came from that is that we now have those relationships, and we continue to communicate with each other and build out plans and preparedness for the next time. Where we're standing now, there was probably at least another 8 or 10 feet of water over my head when Helene was happening. And so this area back here used to be covered in more trees and just, general debris. And then as the waters receded from Helene, it was then filled with tons of material that had been brought down from the mountains, from whether chunks of trees to chunks of cars to little pieces of houses or sheds up 15, 20 feet above the river level, up in the tree line. Flooding happens every year here, twice a year. It happens typically sometime around November, and then again sometime of February. So you get your biannual normal floods. So part of you, when you hear this is coming, you think, well, maybe it's going to be a little more dramatic than an average year. But I don't think anybody really knew what to expect. There were folks that I visited who were up in the Taylor's Valley area who had footage in their home of that wall of water coming, to where he was recording a little creek across the street from his house. You would look at it now and you would never think that would come up to their house. And he's recording it as it's getting higher, and then boom, all of a sudden just a wave of water starts coming at the house, and it takes his vehicle and slams it into the upstream side of his house, and then water starts flowing in through his house to where he jumps up on his bed, and he's sitting there. There's nowhere to go. He can't leave out the back of his house because there's water with such force that it's pushing his vehicle. So he's just standing there on top of his bed, hoping that it doesn't rise anymore, and thankfully it didn't.
We have assisted 98 families with getting them back in their homes. 90 of those were minor to moderate damage, so we were able to, muck and gut. We were able to restore roofs. We were able to clean out the basement, do whatever they needed on their home to get them back into that safely. But then we had 8 homes that were completely destroyed.
On site to Damascus and immediately began assisting with the donation, receiving, and inventory and distribution, as well as volunteer coordination. And then beyond that, we started getting, right after Helene happened, we opened a public donations portal and started collecting public donations. And through public donations, which included private donors as well as some corporate donors, we raised about $2.3 million for Helene recovery. And so that money we utilized for long-term recovery to go to each locality within our service area. Within a week of launching the Citizen Recovery Program to assist Helene survivors, Winter Storm Jet hit. And so that impacted 6 communities within our service area. And so now all of a sudden we're kind of scrambling and we're trying to figure out how can we help these people as well simultaneously. A lot of that was housing displacement. A lot of that was personal possession loss. A lot of that is home damage from floodwaters destroying the plumbing on the lower level of a house to destroying your flooring in the house. And so we continue now to be active in the Citizen Recovery Program and the Long-Term Recovery Program. I always circle back to the word collaboration. I think that's been the biggest part of whatever success has happened in the recovery field. The list is long, so I'm not going to be able to mention everybody, but that's part of that planning and preparedness phase when you can actually begin at step one is building those networks, knowing your allies.
In Southwest Virginia, we're collaborators. So we had people coming from everywhere. We had our legislators out here. We had rescue teams. We had citizens just doing everything that they could. I always tell communities, have a group of doers. Have people who care about their community, who have skills and talents, and everyone is valuable.